Sessions at Sunrise, a way to begin every morning. Most mornings, I'm up to see the sun. I'm used to thinking and feeling in words. Living in words, my world is living and the world is living me. I wonder what will animate me today or what will go away. I find myself in the realm of a hope dealer. I have no suit to put on, just learning to be me, not fancy, just a lot clearer. Am I doing all I can to preserve great leaders? Am I doing all I can to bring great parents to children and great leaders to organizations? I ask the emerging sunrise to release me from shunning the mystery. The world does not have to be beautiful to work, but it is. So let's meet it where it is, pay close attention to things, and see possibility. Welcome to Sessions at Sunrise. All right, this is JD, and welcome to Sessions at Sunrise. You know, I've done 12 Sessions at Sunrise at this point, and it's been a great journey because it helps me, when I talk out some of these reflections with you, to really internalize some of the important early morning realizations that come from quiet time, from stillness, from meditation. And I just want to convey to you, the listener, that there probably is nothing more important, as I see it, than having a disciplined practice for intentional stillness. Especially today with all the trouble that's going on around the world. I know you've heard that over and over again. But I think that signal, if that's a sensor, what that says to you, the listener, is to take a step back and not reflect immediately without taking some time out and saying, okay, let me meet the current situation just as it is. And one of the ways that we learn to accept is by quieting our brain. And the reason why quieting our brain is such a key activity is that our brain is really meant to think based on thoughts that we've downloaded from the past. And what I'm saying, what I'm suggesting, is that the most important capacity for any citizen of the world is to become aware. To become aware of how we think, how we feel, what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing, so that we can have a conscientiousness, a mindfulness to what we're currently doing, and what matters to us becomes the predominant creative force in all decisions, because we are basically good. And that as we know ourselves to be good, as we know ourselves to be loving beings, so too does that translate into our quality of decisions and our quality of actions. And if that happens, then we're more likely to look after others. We have a quality of otherness, where we take care of each other, where we bring back the humanity in all of our institutions because of the individuality, the capacity for our individual awareness to become active. Active in the quality of our heart, active in the quality of our mind, active in the quality of our spirits, to remember what matters, to remember the quality of kindness and compassion, to remember the quality of generosity and understanding that's inside of every one of us. Because we all have that gift. And that if we see those gifts in each other, we will tend to treat each other differently. And by the way we treat each other is the way we become toward each other. So there's a loop. And it starts with letting go of your judgment, letting go of everything you know, letting go of what you would normally think based on your sense-making of the past, and simply meeting right here, the moment. Now, as you go along, you're going to have moments where you're going to get ahas. You're going to see insights. You're going to say, wow, I didn't see that before. And in a way, it kind of feels like you're an imposter. It's like the imposter of the past. You should have seen that. And there's this sort of subtle sense of, I wish that I had known. I wish that I had had this information before. I think each of us feels that in a very interesting way. When we engage our experiences, they deliver learning. Life is our teacher. And so we acquire all these neat breakthroughs and ahas where we see things. And as they say, hindsight's 20/20. So I'd like to share a reflection with you. This was a poem that came through called The Imposter from a most recent session at Sunrise. I feel like an imposter. I see now what I could have and should have done. Skills were without me, and yet I did my best. Does the flying bird wish it knew how to walk? Or does the horse think about learning how to speak? What choices did they make for themselves? What if I had known better than I did? I can imagine the lost fruit of my mistake. Perhaps the mistake is a gift. What then? I am never ready for what comes in. An imposter lives in two places at once. The future keeps shouting, and yet my heart is never bitter. Come, only a moment is left. Just keep moving. I have disgraced myself throughout my walk. I have not done things well. And throw a dark cloth over my head. The imposter hides whatever saddles uncertainty. I cannot bear one moment of tenderness to the unknown. Why is it my fault if I fall into desire for control? What does the universe know that I do not? And perhaps as long as I live, I am fated to my doing. Nothing stays where it is if I move from here to there. The sleeper is pulled from the water. Hold on, the imposter says. We will be there soon. Awakened to the new insertions, non-adjacency gallops ahead, 1 inch from my reach. Grace allows me to slip into the nightshade. I am wisely innocent to the invisible hand of time. We all have these moments. The moments with our children, the moments with other friends, the moments when we make a bad choice and then we experience the consequences. The moments when we were not aware. We weren't at our very, very best. I suppose in these moments, I am reminded how human I am. Yeah. You are reminded how human you are and how flawed you are and how incomplete you are. I think that's really the point, isn't it? Is the truth of all of it is that we are all flawed. Is that we all have a funk. We all have quirks. We all have issues. No one on the planet is above it. No matter what we do, what we own, or how well we can appear in our cosmetics or our materialism, there's no way to hide a human life. Life is messy therapy. So then, how do we trust it? How do we trust something that is uncertain? Well, we can see. We can see by the movement. Yes, that just as we think that slowing down makes the world go slow, it's actually moving faster than ever. Is we actually meet it at the tempo where it is. Life is in the business of building life. Therefore, we see now what we did not see before by paying fierce attention. I'd like to share a piece with you called Now I See Why, that I think hits at the heart of this unmediated walk in faith. Faith in mystery, faith in uncertainty, to walk open and to learn from what is unfolding. All knowing is doing. All doing is knowing. A goal is desired or not desired. Decide or not decide. Create or not create. This is the question. I moved to the tropics to discover nature. After finding my new soulmate, I know why I went. I am moved by forces I pretend to understand. All decisions are just guesses. Once you do it, you see why. What showed up is different. Expectations are premeditated disappointments. The purpose of a goal is to learn what the real goal is waiting for you. It's standing in the doorway of the future, making smoke signals. There you go, with the intention leading the way. Here you are, with the experience opening the eyes. What mattered before may not matter anymore, and what didn't may suddenly matter a great deal. I can change my mind, and yet I never had made it up until tomorrow. Once there, I will know what to do next. We live in this confluence between the quality of our attention and our intention, and that we have to put a parenthesis behind the intention, because we're wise enough to know that we only can go so far with our intention. And then there's just wise innocence. There's a quality of refreshment, of being astonished, of revelation and inheritance, of living life by walking it. It's kind of like a soft landing, that something is softly landed into us if we bring our softer edges to it. But learning how to distribute power back to life and not try to hold it against it. This is where anger comes from. This is where we get upset, is that we hold out our hand and say no to the idea that we are broken by trying to make life fold into the way we want and must have it. We insist we are entitled, and then we justify our rights to have it a certain way by what we do, what we learn, how we position ourselves, instead of changing our terms with change itself and letting life be lived, letting ourselves be lived by life, because it's 80% how we take it in. During Father's Day recently, in June this year of 2019, in one particular coach session, I had a very deep reflection with one of the fathers who had seen his son reveal an expression, a way of being on Father's Day that he had never seen before. And he was able to trace it back to sort of an implicit way that the father had put influence into the son, into who he is. And it was that moment that the soft landing came of something so non-adjacent and inconsistent. Because I think as parents, we choose to, and leaders, we choose to put things into people. And this is what instructions are, is putting something in. But we also, by the way we are, and the way we think of others, if we admire them for certain things we see, then we treat them according to what we admire with respect. And as we do, they become who we treat them as. And the father was so moved by this soft landing that he sought both. The soft landing of something that was unanswerable, that was ineffably there, he could see the face of, but he hadn't seen the process of how it came in and how it had brought his son to such a great level of expression in the comments that he was making about a film that they were watching. And the father was so moved. So I decided to write this into a poem called Soft Landing. I wrote it for him. I'd like to share it with you. To my son's face, I see new things in him. A stranger has been coordinating an implicit curriculum through me, as if I am the vessel of something more than what I put into the other. When did these transfers enter him, I wonder? Today I see his truest inheritance of me. I see traces of a world outside my periphery. Trends and shapes live there in a certain creative order. I see what lies beyond the obvious now. Something filled his vocabulary to bring him whole. The father he got and then did not. The stars are as many as I can see, and yet more galaxies lie beyond than grains of sand on all beaches combined. I am son, I am father, I am space, I am that, I am, and that too. And everything around me speaks in surges of contentment. Consolidation is the meeting with the frontier of possibilities outside my control. Perhaps an invisible hand was holding us all along. Softly, the sweat of its palm moisturizes the skin, seeping in like a loving raindrop. The soft landing opens the way to climb into the inner room in soul tones. It is like this, and then non-adjacent. Nothing is to be reduced. Nature makes subtle consolations in perfect tempo, like the gazing searchlight of a watchtower. Only here, in the freshest breath of air, I find myself astonished, with a soft edge, in what is next. My mind has caught up to my body as I see clearly now what has come to us. I say yes and add a blank space next to it for all to come into itself, as if opening the aperture calls in the light to vivid vistas. Till the soil first, and the space will live there to be lived by life. I am Son, I am Father, I am space, I am that I am, and that too. It was seeing the difference. And the only way to see the difference was through the open heart. That the Father could allow differences to be different than the way that He wanted the Son to be. It was a quality of being where He was. But to get there, the interior place, to see as the Son, not as the Father, places His expectations on the Son, was a moment of recognition. And that recognition went vocal. It went vocal and it went to love. It went to appreciation and gratitude, so that both could appear in their true inheritance. The Son could appear in the recognition of the Father seeing the difference, and the Father could appear in the recognition of something different than himself that was connected to the input, the relationship itself. And this was a miraculous moment. It was a moment of embrace, of great making of a memory, something that will be etched in time forever and carried forward, a dynamic, not something fixed, but something beginning. Yes, a beginning of a new end. Something living there that translated into relating with each other in a more equal stature, an appreciation. And the Son said that through this he could see the opportunity of the Father, but not within the Father that he held in the label of the Father. It was seen as nameless. So as we see the unnamed, as we take the name away, the category, we offer ourselves the fresh look, to see with a fresh mind. We let the light in. We are touched, moved. We allow the others to change us. I think that's really where we all, at some level of joy, we truly want and long for that connection, not to consume, but to connect. I hope something in this podcast today has touched you, moved you, that you've allowed me to change you, and that these words have found a place in your heart, in your spirit, and that if they do, if you've been given something here, then give it. You're the vehicle. Now go move it. Go do what we just talked about. Yes, the imposter. The not knowing why until you do it, until you do what's next. To live a little more dangerously and courageously, and to trust that something is ready to emerge out of which our creations come. Thank you.